Very early in the morning, the chief priests, with the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole Sanhedrin made their plans. So they bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. "Are you king of the Jews?" Pilate asked. "You have said so," Jesus replied.
The chief priest accused him of many things.
So again, Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of?"
But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed.
Now it was custom at the feast to release a prisoner whom the people requested.
A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in the uprising.
The crowd asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did.
"Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate.
Knowing it was out of self-interest that the chief priest had handed Jesus over to him.
So the chief priest stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead.
"What shall I do then with the one you call King of the Jews?" Pilate asked.
"Crucify him," they shouted.
"Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. Still they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him."
Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified.
The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace, that is, the praetorium, and called together the whole company of soldiers.
They put a purple robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him.
And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!"
Again and again they struck him on the head with a staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him.
And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him.
A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross.
They took Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull.
They offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it.
And they crucified him. Dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see what each would get.
It was 9 in the morning when they crucified him.
The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews."
They crucified 2 rebels with him, one on his left side and one on his right.
Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So, you are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days?
"Come down from the cross and save yourself."
In the same way, the chief priests and the teachers of the law mocked him among themselves. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself."
"Let this Christ, the King of Israel, come down from the cross that we may see and believe." Those crucified with him also heaped insults on him.
At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon.
And at 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
When some of those standing near heard this, they said, "Listen, he's calling Elijah."
Someone ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus. "Now, leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes and takes him down," he said.
With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last.
The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom.
And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how he died, he said, "Surely this man was the Son of God."
Some women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary mother of James the Younger and of Joseph, and Salome.
In Galilee, these women had followed him and cared for his needs. There were many other women who came with him to Jerusalem that were also there.
It was preparation day. That is the day before the Sabbath.
Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God, went boldly to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body.
Pilate was surprised to hear that he had already died. Summoning the centurion, he asked him if Jesus had already died. When he learned from the centurion that it was so, he gave the body to Joseph.
So Joseph bought some linen cloth, took down the body, wrapped it in the linen, and placed it in a tomb cut out of rock. Then he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of Joseph saw where he lay.
When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary mother of James, and Salome bought spices so that they might go to anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they They were on their way to the tomb.
Asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb?"
But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away.
As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man wearing a white robe, sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "You're looking for Jesus, the Nazarene, who was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him?"
But go, tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you to Galilee, and there you will see him just as he told you.